Just a brief one on the issue of projects. I think that I will encourage the government that as part of oral, we must audit all uncompleted projects before we decide whether we want to complete them or not. I am an advocate for completion of projects started by the previous government. But what I have become aware of, are you aware that when you visit the various senior high schools, there is supposed to be a toilet facility funded by CODA, the Coastal Development Authority. When you visit senior high schools, and I'm challenging all our viewers, headmasters, teachers who are watching us from schools where some of these projects have been cited, none, not a single one of them. Volta region, for example, 20 of them. Go to Bishop Herman, there is one. Go to Abutia Senior High, there is one. None has been completed. But on CODA's books, fully funded, monies has been released, and in their books, all these projects have been completed. It's a serious issue.
Yeah, but that's criminal.
Criminal issues.
That's criminal.
And I'm telling you that if CODA, the former boss or head of CODA, says that any of these things that I'm saying is not true, he can take me on. Go to the schools, not a single one has been completed. And yet, in their books, all these projects have been listed as completed.
That's serious.
How do you expect a new government to just take up the projects, spend more money to complete it? In Abutia, for example, the teachers are still looking for the contractors because that particular project, Howard Kumsin, drove all the way with a long convoy to the school to inspect the project.
Wow. Before
the project they claim was completed. As we speak today, there is nothing not completed. It should be about 60-65% complete, and yet fully funded monies have been released. And in CODA's books, all those projects have been completed. On their so-called delivery tracker, those projects have been completed. And you expect the new government to just spend more resources to continue such projects when from the procurement process to the construction or whatever, the entire process full of corruption. We will take our time, audit these things before we think about completion. So don't worry. As for completion, and I'm happy that today we are talking about completion. Look, the number of projects that your government abandoned.
But sometimes it's beggars believe, eh? It's shocking. I mean, when you do these things,
20 of them.
Is it the person's understanding that they will never be found out? That you claim you have done A, B, C, D.
20-seater. There's one on Bishop Herman campus.
For which reason
Bishop Herman teachers watching can send me a picture.
And yet you know that you will never be found out? Hey.
Indeed, the NPP lacks the moral right to even call for the completion of their so-called uncompleted projects.
Why? They're Ghanaians. They have the right.
Aside the procurement issues that I have already cited, more, the NPP in 2017 inherited massive health infrastructure projects from the NDC then. Even the projects that we completed, it took them years to just open or commission them. It took them years. The Dodowa District Hospital is a classical example. That is a project we completed, but because of the pettiness of the then Akufo-Addo government, they left that project unattended to. They refused to commission it. It took several petitions, several calls by the chiefs and people of Dodowa before later that project was commissioned. Just projects that were completed already and several others. Even UGMC, President Mahama commissioned it, and when they came, they kept it under lock and key and told the people of Ghana that they did not have generators, for which reason that facility, magnificent facility. And look, when you visit the UGMC, but for the inscriptions that you see around, you may not even notice that you were in a hospital because it looks like a very luxurious hotel or apartment. And the UGMC became the savior of many of their MPs and ministers during the COVID era.
My MPs and ministers?
Even that project, they left it, they refused to operationalize it. It took several calls and pleadings by the good people of Ghana and the University of Ghana authorities before they finally commissioned. I'm not even talking about projects that were 50%, 60% and all of that completed. I'm talking about fully completed projects. But because of pettiness, they refused to commission or operationalize them. So today, 5 months in opposition, and they are already in the position to advise us to complete projects. And again, the Agenda 111 project, look, sometimes politicians, the likes of President Akufo-Addo and my brother Ishaq, they need to take the people of Ghana serious. President Akufo-Addo, in the promise to build a district hospital for all districts without hospitals, promised to complete the projects in 1 year. Was that not the promise? He promised to complete the projects in 1 year. As we speak, he has not even apologized to the people of Ghana for failing on his words. Then from 88, it moved to 111. How many of the 111 have been completed? Despite all the noise and the monies they allocated for that project, how many of the 111 hospitals have been completed? For many of the sites, in fact, most of them, not even a block, and yet contracts were awarded, mobilizations were given to contractors. Not even a block, a single block. You can't cite a single block on site. And so if you ask us to go and complete it, after leaving the economy in a mess, so much debt, our debt has ballooned to the extent that all the credible rating agencies gave us negative ratings. You want us to now go and look for money to complete projects that came about as a result of your lofty promises that you yourself refuse to complete? Every government has its own priorities. Yes, we will complete abandoned projects or uncompleted projects, we'll continue, but you cannot force us to go and put all our monies into the completion of those projects. Again, all these projects we're talking about are tied to issues of the economy. Look, as part of the IMF conditionalities that they signed up to, Ghana has a ceiling of 250 million US dollars. That is the only amount that we can even go out and borrow from the external markets. And yet you've left all these projects uncompleted and you're asking us to find the money to do it. At the time you were leaving, economy was so broke that even students in the various senior high schools, you couldn't feed them. It took a special intervention by President Mahama and the NDC government to put in place some pragmatic measures to provide feeding for our students. And you're asking us to find money from where? To complete your lofty projects that you have refused to complete. And so the NPP should take a back seat on some of these conversations.
Okay.
They failed us in 8 years. They have no moral authority to even comment on abandoned projects. And again, I drive by the Saglemi housing project every time. That is a stark reminder of a government that refused to complete and operationalize projects started by their previous or by their predecessors. You have no moral right.
All right.
Allow us do our thing. Let's serve the good people of Ghana in a way that we believe will inure to their best interest. And today, I am happy to tell you that the average Ghanaian is happier today than they were in 2024. That the economy is better today. Transport fares have reduced. As we speak today, Inflation is on a downward trend. As we speak today, the currency, our foreign exchange is looking better. As we speak, we are hovering around 11.8. And so people who used to pay fees or purchase items in dollars, today you need lesser amount. Yesterday somebody did a calculation that he used 90,000 to clear a Corolla in December 2024. But because of the impact of the CD appreciation today, you need 56,000 Ghana cedis to clear the same car. And so allow us run the show like we are doing. And let's keep this country moving on a steady path of progress. And stop interrupting and suggesting and giving lectures as if all of a sudden in 5 months you have discovered the magic wand.
He's responding to me.
5 months. All of a sudden they are behaving as though they have discovered the magic wand to manage this country. When we gave it to you for 8 years, you failed abysmally. Abysmally. You failed poto.